For those of you who just joined my channels recently, let me give you a little background information on who General Liu Yuan is. He is the son of a former Chinese president who was tortured to death during the Cultural Revolution. He was once one of China's most prominent rising political stars, but because he sympathized with the students in 1989 and opposed opening fire during the pro-democracy movement, he was sidelined and later was forced to join the military. And he rose to the rank of general. And after helping Xi Jinping take down two corrupt CMC vice chairmen, Xi Jinping forced him into retirement, purely out of jealousy over General Liu's political influence. One can argue that Liu is one of the most influential princelings today. Having Liu on his side makes Zhang Youxia virtually invincible within the military. General Liu Yuan's movements have been closely watched before and after the Fourth Plenum. Before the Fourth Plenum, his appearance at one of the main tables at the PLA's annual anniversary banquet with some generals sidelined by Xi Jinping was noteworthy. That was the end of July. And then after the Fourth Plenum, he showed up at an event hosted by Xi Jinping. This time, his dress code caught attention. And CCTV footage showed that General Liu, dressed in a military uniform, was in attendance. Now, Liu is retired, so showing up in uniform instead of civilian clothes was highly unusual. According to PLA's internal regulations governing active duty officers, as well as regulations on the management of retired officers and their internal discipline and uniform codes, retired generals face strict limits on when they can wear a PLA uniform. Once you retire, you're not supposed to wear an active duty uniform unless attending a major state event. So as a retired officer, Liu's choice to wear the uniform at a symposium violates that code. It definitely sent a strong political message. So I think it's probably a soft reminder to people that he's not in retirement. This indirectly confirms that he is still actively involved in military affairs. Now, you have to know that one of General Liu Yuan's trademark policies is the nationalization of the Chinese PLA. He's a strong proponent of redefining the PLA, transforming it from a party's military into a national defense force. And about a week ago, something highly sensitive to the regime got leaked. And the leak may be related to the PLA's intention to rebranding itself as a national force. So now let's talk about what got leaked. A complete 6-hour video of the secret military trial of General Xi Jinping, former commander of the 38th Group Army during the 1989 Tiananmen massacre. So the video of his trial was released for the first time. Within hours, the entire Chinese-speaking world was in shock. For many China scholars, its previous historical records, its history staring back at them or at us. For China's military, it exposed cracks inside the party army system. And for the people, it was a collective echo of humanity that had been suppressed for 36 years. Now, the story of Xi Jinping, the general who defied Deng Xiaoping's order and refused to send armed troops to Tiananmen in 1989, is now fully disclosed after this 6-hour video was released. So now let me talk a little bit who this general is. Now, he joined the PLA at age 15, and he fought in the Korean War. He climbed the ladder and moved up in ranks from the grassroots to a top commander purely based on his merit. He was not a princeling or a political favorite of anyone. And in 1987, 2 years before the Tiananmen Square massacre, he took command of the 38th Group Army, the PLA's most elite unit, known as the Imperial Guards, responsible for protecting the capital city. And it was the centerpiece of the PLA's military force. Now, based on the political trajectory at the time, if General Xu had obeyed the order to suppress the student protesters in 1989, his next step would likely have been commander of the Beijing military region and eventually vice chairman of the CMC. But he gave all of that up. At age 55, he chose something heavier than rank. He declared, he said, "I cannot lead my troops to attack the people. Doing so would make us criminals in the eyes of history." His refusal at the time shocked the leadership. Deng Xiaoping was utterly shocked. And the vice chairman of CMC at the time, Yang Shangkun, they immediately dismissed and detained General Xu and ordered a secret military trial. And now the trial is exposed. So in this video, the prosecutor accused him of disobeyed orders and declared that the Tiananmen protests were a counter-revolutionary riot and that he, the general, obstructed the party's central committee. And the judge repeated over and over that the party's decision is above everything. And then the camera turns to the general. He sits upright, no fear, no anger. He was actually very calm throughout the trial. It was amazing. I mean, this man is very special, or was, because he passed away. And he said history would judge this event. And he also said carrying out this mission could bring honor, or it could make us criminals in history. And the courtroom went silent, and the judge cut him off, forbidding him from talking politics. And then he replied quietly. He said, "I'm only speaking facts." So the video documented all of those exchanges, and it clarified several myths for China scholars who study the 1989 political upheaval. So the first thing it clarified is that the real signatures or signatories of the martial law order was signed by Deng Xiaoping and the chairman of the CMC and his vice chairman, Yang Shangkun. But it was missing one key signature, that is from the party secretary general, Zhao Ziyang. Zhao Ziyang did not sign. So this confirms once again the crackdown was not a collective CCP decision. It was pushed through by a small faction. Some can even argue that it was not lawful because it was missing a signature. That's clarified. And the second thing is General Xu's 38th Army was supposed to be the main suppressing force. It was designated as the vanguard unit. But because its commander refused, the mission was handed over to the 27th Army. And then so many people in the 38th Group Army were very grateful because they don't want to be associated with this atrocity. It kind of saved the reputation of the 38th Army because of the decision of its commander. And then the 27th Army became one of the units, or the main unit, firing the most shots on the night of June 3rd to the 4th. And also it clarified that for years, a rumor circulated saying that the general refused to send troops because the martial law document lacked Zhao Ziyang's signature, which was true. I mean, right, it is lacking his signature, but the video proves that he didn't even know that there was a split in the leadership at the top. His reason of refusal was very simple. It was simple and human. He refused to open fire on the people. Actually, for a month before the crackdown, he had already sent, this general had sent unarmed troops into Beijing 3 times. He knew the student movement was peaceful, and he knew public support was with them. And he knew sending armed troops would lead to bloodshed. And in the trial, he said, entering the city with weapons, he said, something would definitely go wrong. And he said it clearly. He said, the Central Committee can remove me as a commander or as the commander, but this order I cannot give. And he appeared very calm throughout the video. And the video, interestingly, reviewed a quiet but powerful moment when a soldier risked everything to protect the general. So during an inspection, one of Xu's, maybe one of his bodyguards, lied to investigators, claiming that Xu's briefcase was his own, hiding it to protect Xu's notebooks and documents in the briefcase. Right? It shows something important, that his refusal to obey was widely admired within his unit. It wasn't a lone moment of conscience. I think there are many people under him who had hidden moral resistance. So this trial began on March 17th, 1990, almost 9 months after the massacre. It was a complete secret. The court declared in the video saying that this case involves state secrets The information must not be leaked. But now, 36 years later, the footage is out, revealing the entire chain of command behind martial law, the signatures on the order, and the mobilization process of the PLA. So people are asking, why was this video leaked in 2025? And the timing is extremely sensitive because now the PLA is going through the biggest political upheaval in decades after so many generals were removed, right? And when a sweeping military purge is still underway. And it is said that the leak made Xi Jinping furious. The video was leaked on the 25th, and the very next day, the director and the deputy director of PLA's Military Bureau of Classified Information were both abruptly removed. So now everyone is asking, did someone inside the military deliberately leak this to send a message? Right? So many analysts believe the leak likely came from reformist forces inside the PLA, and the rank could be very high. I mean, for someone to make the decision to leak this, it has to be someone in a powerful position. And the intent is to send a warning, even a declaration. So this whole episode isn't about revisiting Tiananmen Square massacre or rehabilitating the 1989 student movement. It's a message aimed at the present. The military must serve the nation, not a handful of individuals. In most modern nations, I mean, this is common sense, but in China, it's a forbidden phrase. Because previously, actually after 1989, some reform-minded military leaders like Yang Dezhi and Qin Jiwei proposed the idea of the army belongs to the nation, but Deng Xiaoping crushed the idea immediately. Because if the military belongs to the party holds power. If the military belongs to the nation, the people hold power. And that is the fundamental taboo of authoritarian regimes. But this leaked video now has sparked a new wave of discussion about whether the Chinese military is the party's tool to suppress people, or it should serve the people. Remember, General Liu Yuan is the biggest proponent of the nationalization of the PLA. So I think this leak is not accidental. It's highly sensitive information, and it's a full release. They didn't release a clip, right? I mean, they could have just released 5 minutes of it, 20 minutes of it. No, they released the whole video, the full trial. I think it's an intentional act by someone who wants the PLA to remain a people's military and not the party's military. By the way, General Xu Jinping was sentenced to 5 years in prison, and after release from the prison, he was living under surveillance or house arrest in Shijiazhuang, Hebei, and he passed away on January 8th, 2021 at the age, I think, 85.